letting you know just in case you sort of turn around and see what Mrs. Hattrick is doing. So thank you first and foremost so much for coming. The purpose of the meeting really is just to kind of give you a bit of a flavour of what's coming up for the residential, and what it looks like, what happens, what the day is going to be like, what support we'll be able to offer, and maybe some tips on things to bring. I know you've had a kit list and things, but it's an opportunity just to recap some bits and pieces in there, and an opportunity, of course, to ask any general questions, and then we're going to hang around afterwards if you want to ask specific questions about your child, and maybe you may not want to ask that specifically, so we can stay on as well and have a chat. We might answer that as part of the session. Right, so Lodge Hill, exciting. 28th and 29th of March, you're staying at the centre for one night. We're going to leave school at about 9 o'clock, so we're coming in normal time, but we just asked really, please very much, if they could be here on time. They'll come into the hall, we'll log and register them, and if they have any medicines or anything sort of specific that we need to hold on to, we log and record all of that, keep it safe so that adults have got them who are looking after the children, and then we hop onto the coach and off we go. It's not a very long journey, so all those of you who might know what Lodge Hill is, it's very short, so don't worry. It's not a marathon coach journey. It's just down near Peterborough really, so it's about 15 minutes or so on the coach. But the coach is needed because we've got all of the stuff, so we'll use it nonetheless. That's the centre building. It's sort of a previously used conference centre, and it's in sort of lots of forest and woodland, so it's really lovely to kind of explore. Lots of the activities are set around that site, but there's also some time within, obviously, designated areas for the children to kind of explore as well, which is really lovely and a great opportunity to do. Ooh, look, the beds. Yes, I know. So, what do the rooms look like? There are various different sizes and numbers of beds. They vary from sort of 2 to 6 children, and as you can see, they're perfectly comfortable, perfectly warm. It's not quite the Ritz, but it's nice, it's fine, we're okay. The children will have a say on the roommates, so what we're going to do is we'll be asking them over the next couple of weeks some children that they would like to be with, and we will make sure they're definitely with at least one of them, because obviously we want to make sure they've got people they feel safe and comfortable with, and obviously we know the children very well at this point, so we can make some sensible choices about how that's going to work. We'll sort all of that and organise that prior to departure. Boys and girls sleep on separate floors. There is a middle floor where sometimes there is a little bit of a mix, but it is again separated into boys and girls sections. Boys normally down in the basement level with me, which is great fun. Please go to sleep this year, please. But yes, no, so that's all separated out, and there's some communal bathrooms that they share. Again, it's perfectly nice. And there's adults sleeping in separate rooms at the end of the corridors to sort of keep an eye, be available, and we will also know if there are any concerns, or some of you sleep very well, all those kind of things. Those forms and paperwork that you've submitted will help us know all of that information. And if you're worried about anything like that, let us know. Either speak to us, email, just so we've got all the knowledge we need to support them while they're all the sort of trip, really. Just to say about sleeping, actually I'll go back before we move on to food, because obviously that's also very exciting. Obviously it's a residential trip, and we absolutely aspire to do the whole thing, that residential experience. I know there are some who might be a bit wobbly about that. What I would say is pack, bring it, aim to do it, and we will do our best to try and make it happen. We've had this experience, we've done this trip for many, many years, and lots of children might be feeling that way, but actually when they get there and see the room and they're with the friends, they almost always want to stay. If, however, for any reason, there was that point where, no, it's an absolute no, I'm distressed, we've got your phone number, we'll obviously speak to you, we will sort something out. So we will make that happen, we'll make it work. But we really want the children to have that overnight experience. That's the important thing. It is a bit of a rite of passage. I mean, I always been talking about, I'm still quite good friends with lots of people that I went to primary school with, and we're sort of men in our mid-late 30s, and we're still talking about funny things that happened that night we stayed over at Pike House in Hastings. It's a really priceless experience for all the children to have, so we really encourage you to sort of urge them to give it a go, and we'll support them through it no matter what. Okay, so food. Food It's plentiful and good. As you can see from the number of courses, it's kind of Hobbit style. There's sort of 5 meals almost a day with snacks and cake and things like that. And it's generally home cooked, very tasty, your classic dishes. It's nothing too sort of out there. The staff are really good though, and if there are obviously any dietary issues, we will make sure the menu really accommodates that. So thinking about that, it's really important if you haven't already, get the medical form, particularly with allergies or intolerances in. I know the deadline is Friday. If you get that in ASAP, then I can send that over to the centre and they prep the menu, so it definitely takes into account all of those things. But they're very flexible. You know, if there's a meal at night, they can knock together a sandwich or some toast. We'll find food, and as you can see, there's quite lots of courses, so you'll find something to eat, I'm sure. It's pretty hard to get hungry on this particular trip. They serve each other, they clear the tables, it's really nice. It's a nice centre hall actually to use, and it's good. It's a good experience for them to eat together. In terms of the centre itself, we've also got an additional room. So we have a use of what we call the library area. It's a kind of indoor base. Now during the day we'll be out and about doing various different things, but actually this is a really useful space for us to have as a kind of quiet area, sensory break, someone's a bit tired, or just having that opportunity. And for lots of people they need that. It just gives you that opportunity with a member of staff to go and have some downtime. It's a nice room, there's sofas, it's quite kind of snuggly. We've got that as a buffer if we need it. So if that's something you're thinking they might want, your child might want, we've got that, and we'll make sure that that provision's available if needed. This is a bit we watch. The children are certainly looking at this particularly. So how it works, we get there about 10 a.m. We have snacks and a safety talk, very important. Tour of the site, so we have a walk around, see where the rooms are, some of the activities, walk around, and most importantly where the kind of barriers are. It's quite clear, it's all fenced, but just so children know kind of where they should and shouldn't be to be safe. They're with adults all the time anyway, but just so it's really clear at every point. Then we have a first activity, which will vary entirely. The children will be grouped into about 7 different groups, and they'll sort of rotate around different activities through the 2 days. Then we have lunch, then we have another activity, then we have tea, then we have another activity, then we have dinner. As I said, a dinner board is a lot of food. Then we have a night walk, which is usually sort of us with torches wandering about, which is good fun. When's the supper? It's Tiberius Children's Surprise, but it is hot chocolate. Story, stung in the library, then we get ready for bed, which definitely is attempted at a reasonable hour, which we will really hope that we stick to. So we will go and snuggle down for a really good sleep, definitely boys and girls. Day 2, we've got breakfast, another activity, a morning snack, another activity, lunch, time to explore the site, and then we hop on the coach about 4 o'clock, so we're back at school about 4:30. It's highly unlikely that time is going to be any different because, of course, we were only down the road. So we will be, ideally, by 4:30 if you're collecting, we should be back maybe 5 or 10 minutes. We will be here in the hall with everybody, and so you can collect just here from the hall pickup entrance and take them home, ready for probably proper sleep after that. Okay. On the day we arrive, it does say in the itinerary, just to kind of remind everybody, we've asked children to bring a packed lunch. If you receive a free school meal, there will be a school one provided as well, so just be aware of that. But that's so that we've got that maximum time to get in, have that, to get into the activity, so we can do as much as we can. So typical activities, my teeth back in. These are photos, most of them from last year, although that one's from quite a few years ago. So we've got archery, low ropes, team building games, shelter building, orienteering, sort of outdoor stuff, active teamwork. Some of it might be trying something a little bit different, or maybe a little, I wouldn't say scary, but sort of a bit more challenging. And obviously we're encouraging children to be resilient, push themselves to try something different. But it's all with accredited instructors who do this all the time. It's safe. Ropes, harnesses, everything is sort of checked, and we've gone through a really thorough risk assessment process in looking at all of these particular activities, making sure that they're designed really, really good fun, but also very safe for children to do as well. And as you can see from some photos, it is quite enjoyable. What do they need? Don't need anything particularly special in terms of equipment. The main thing I would say is something waterproof might be needed. Last year it was kind of similar to at the moment weather-wise, so it probably might be the same again. So some blue sky, some showers, not too cold, but old clothes, because as you might have gathered from the photos already, they're going to get muddy possibly, and they probably will get wet, especially in the team building. But we'll obviously dry them off in between. So not things that we were worried about losing or getting damaged. It's yeah, they don't get any sort of specialist kits. Now, the sleeping bag and an old duvet is a new one for this year. The centre did email me a few weeks ago to say that in order to keep costs the same, they're no longer laundering the duvet. So they've asked us to bring things, which is a little bit irritating, I know. If there is any issue with that, please let us know and we can source provide help with that. I know it is not convenient, it is an extra thing to think about, and I'm really sorry about that. It is what we have advised them to do in order to cut costs this year. Yes?
Does that include a pillow as well?
They said pillowcase, so I think they've got a pillow.
Okay, fine.
So they're providing a pillow, so just a case. Yeah, I think if you wanted to go a 2-pillow person, I'd bring an extra one. That's why I'm saying. But yes, so there's a kit list there as well. If you're worried about anything on there, you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I'll get that. Rather than go to expense, please just come and ask us first, because you know we've been doing these trips for a long time. We have spares, we have access to things, and we're more than happy to help. Just, you know, the last thing you want to do is go and buy something and use it once, then perhaps not use it again. Okay. So, how will the child cope? As I said, you know, they're with adults they know. The team who are coming is pretty much everybody from the Year 5 team. I'll be going as part of the senior leadership team as well. Miss Salford, our Senko is going as well. So it will be familiar adults that they know, and we will be there. We know the children at this point very well as well, so we know who they are, what they need, and we will support them in the best way that we can. You can bring a 10-euro cuddly toy if you want to. That's an will help. Absolutely fine, welcome, encouraged. Staff are on hand, several children from the home sit. So if that does happen, it does happen occasionally. We'll be there, as I said, where we're placed in the corridors, and we know, especially if you signpost anything you're worried about, we can support you with that. It's something you're worried about. And so it happens often in trips, and it's often so the board and any challenges around sleeping is dealt with sensitively. And you know, it's a busy day. They're usually very tired and or excited, usually at the same time. And eventually, tired wins the battle and they do get to sleep. But it's such an exciting experience, and it is quite, as you've seen from the itinerary, non-stop. There isn't a lot of time to sit and perhaps neither about it. So genuinely, people are just excited to be there and looking forward to what's next. So food and allergies, as I mentioned, it's nut-free as a centre, logical and special diets are catered for. So yeah, please get the medical forms back just so that we can give the centre as much time as possible to prepare appropriate menu for everybody. Yes, home cooked, it's delicious. I know I eat a lot of it every single time I go. Yeah, children will serve themselves, we said earlier on, and there's lots of gentle encouragement, peer support. I myself was a terribly fussy eater as a child, so I know exactly that anxiety and feeling when it's something we don't like. But as I said, we do our best to support. Food's generally okay, but there are workarounds, alternatives, and as you see, there's another meal that's usually not very far away anyway. We'll sort it. We'll make sure they've got what they need. And yes, busy children do get hungry. That's definitely true. How will they cope? Logical, lots of facilities, we've got staffing ratios to help carefully. If there are any children who do have additional needs, we know about it at school, and we make sure we instruct us about it. So if there is any adjustments needed, that will all be done, just like it is at school. Whoever the lead teacher is for the group has a record of any medical needs, they have the medication to hand if it's needed. And of course, children who potentially need advanced might need some additional support. That's looking at photos, going through timetables. We've already planned ahead for what that might look like. If you think, actually, yes, I think that's something that my child might benefit from, let us know. Either speak to us, email us, let us know. We can make time to do that. I think that's going to be supportive and helpful. It's really important they feel confident and excited about coming, no matter what. I feel like I've spoken very quickly. I've bombarded you with stuff and just saying what can sometimes. Is there any general questions first of all? Because I know it might be you've got specific questions about children, your own children, in which case we can have some time to come and chat. We've got Miss Hattrick and Miss Sprayer here as well today if you need to talk. But are there any general questions. The children have got questions. This always happens. Is that Rory? Rory, what's your question? You have to pick up. What time is bedtime? It's approximately timetable to be about 8:30. And that's an optimistic 8:30, but we're going into sleep. Borderline, we'll see. Okay. Hayward, do you have a question?
Would there be marshmallows on the
Do you know what? That's a really good question. And I'm not sure, actually. I can't remember if there was last year. We'll have to
Hayward?
see.
Not when I went,
Exciting
unfortunately.
Right.
But things may have changed.
Do you know what, children, I'm going to say, as much as I do absolutely want to answer your questions, we're going to have time to do this in school time. So is that okay? We will do this. We'll have some time to talk about it in class. All right. Adults, have you got any questions? Yes?
Will you guys prepare Sunday classes?
We'll take a first aid kit. If you think that's something they might need, it might be worth packing. I'll have to check whether we would bring some as normal. We certainly would, if we felt they needed it, we'd obviously want to get your permission first, so we would sort that out. We would use some of the to make sure you're happy with it. So we will have those things available. Please check with you. If you think there's anything they might need medication-wise, please pack it, and we will have it then to hand stuff. If you think that's something that's possible, is that okay? Anything else? Anyone else wants to ask? Who are adults, preferably? Riley, you're next year. Hold your horses. Your chance will come. Oh, your brother's got his hand up. Leo, children, I promise we've got time planned already in class to talk about it. So, adults, because you're not here to ask us all the time. Are you sure there's nothing else you want to ask? Yes?
Take torches.
Yes, if they can, that would be lovely. But if they haven't got one, doesn't matter. Okay. Yes? Just for the first day. Just for when we arrive. Yeah. Then it's lunch provided from there on. It's just in terms of getting the timing for the activities right. It's the only way to get there in time. Just means we get to do one more activity. So we want to do that. All right.